Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Prophet Noah. In today's episode, we're going to carry on with Musa's Ark. The Ark of the Heart. Earlier in an episode, we talked about Nabi Nuh alayhi salam's Ark of the Heart. How we could read Noah's Ark as a way of Noah having, through Allah's guidance, expanded his heart to include all of creation within it and all of humanity within it. And within the context of mercy and protection and shelter. Now with baby Musa, we discussed in the last episode, his basket is considered to be an ark. And it uses the exact same wording in ancient Hebrew, as far as I know, is used for this ark. So now within the Musa context, the Moses context, peace be upon him, we've got the heart of a Rasul. Because he is going to be, when he comes into his maturity and has gone through his long dark night of the soul, which is very typical for the prophets and for the messengers. And a long dark night of the soul, this is a spiritual crisis as they draw near to the truth, as they experience intense suffering and then seek to find a way to deal with the suffering and not only free themselves from suffering, but to bring others out of suffering. Now, within Musa's context, he was saved from becoming a blood sacrifice to Pharaoh, to Pharaoh's gods, I should say, to his deities. So Moses grows up in the Pharaonic household. He's trusted. He gains rank. He is educated. Within the context, it can easily be assumed and insinuated that he was a literate man, that he knew how to write in the Egyptian systems, that he could read symbology, he could read hieroglyphics, he could read the writing of the scribes. He would have had to, because he was in high-level positions and he was within the Pharaonic royal household. Now, eventually there comes a point where we are told that he winds up seeing a member of Bani Israel, a Hebrew, a slave, being beaten and disrespected and humiliated. And in a moment of rage, of anger, of sensing this injustice, Musa goes and he somehow winds up in an altercation with this overseer, with this overseer, with this Egyptian slave master, a slave driver, and he winds up killing him in the altercation. Whether this is considered to be outright murder or a type of manslaughter, this is debatable within the story, but he's going to have to go into exile. Before we visit his exile, let's consider who Bani Israel is and how does Moses connect with these people. In this instance, we see him reacting to injustice. Now, is it personalized? Has he yet realized? Now, in some of the legends, it suggests that he became aware at an earlier age of his ancestry from Bani Israel that are currently being enslaved in the Egyptian context by his adoptive father or adoptive grandfather's people. So, what's going on? Let's consider that perhaps he had already been seeking truth and that he had already received some insights from the Most High, indicating whether it was in dream form, vision form, whether his adoptive mother, maybe the daughter or sister or wife of Pharaoh, who helped to raise him, had indicated that he was found in a unique circumstance, that he was found at the river. So also he's taken out of the river, which is a symbol of mercy. So he's brought forth from mercy, and he's a source of mercy. And he clearly has a sense of justice within his heart. So maybe it's just that the injustice sparks something within him. But in order to have a sense of justice, perhaps there was something before that. So maybe he's already got an indication that he is descended from Bani Israel. Or perhaps we could argue that he winds up identifying with them and then learning later what's going on. Now, he has to go into exile at this point. So let's quickly, before we go into the exile, where he meets Nabi Shu'aib, alayhi salam, the most eloquent among the prophets, and marries one of his daughters, and arguably is a disciple of this great prophet, and engages in a nomadic lifestyle for a number of years, traveling between Midian, which is in northwest Arabia, where it meets Jordan, kind of near all the Petra ruins in this area. And he would have extended, because the legends say that Nabi Shu'aib was engaged, that his tribe was engaged in trading copper. And so he would have had an extensive trade going all the way up into southern Anatolia, into Balad Hashem, and that's where we get a lot of sites associated with Nabi Shu'aib and Nabi Musa alayhi salam. In Turkey, around Diyarbakir, between Şanlıurfa and Diyarbakir. Diyarbakir is the place of copper. So it's a place of copper trading. So Musa is going to go there, and this is where he's going to have the burning bush experience. He's going to have some very powerful, transformative experiences while he is engaged in a nomadic lifestyle, while he is in exile, for having feared for his life, and he's learning about his lineage, about his ancestry, and about who he really is, because he doesn't know who he is at first. This is arguably like we will see the Caliph to come, alayhi salam, will also go through a similar experience, a long dark night of the soul, an experience of suffering, because he's a Musa of the age. We're right at the precipice of humanity being genocided out and enslaved, the remainder. So he's a Musa of the age, arguably. So this is an interesting way to think about the story. So anyway, back to who is Bani Israel. This is a very interesting question. And I think that because people just automatically assume, well, I know who Bani Israel is. Right now there's a lot of, people automatically assume that it's Jewish people. And then we've got debates now with Black Hebrew Israelites that have a claim to being the tribe of Judah. And the thing is, I'm open to many, many possibilities. And I do, without a doubt, I believe that Bani Israel is actually a multi-ethnic collective of people of all different colors and backgrounds. And I think that the hints are within the Joseph and Yusuf narratives of the Bible and Quran. In the biblical material, you will see a couple of corruptions that, from my study, actually indicate something hidden within it. So quickly, who is Bani Israel? We'll go to the story of Nabi Yusuf in the next story in order to bring these pieces together, inshallah, and better understand who Bani Israel is before we complete the story of Musa's Ark, inshallah. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.